نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. عن ابن عباس رضي الله تعالى عنهما أنه توضأ فغسل وجهه، أخذ غرفة من ماء فمضمض بها واستنشق، ثم أخذ غرفة من ماء فجعل بها هكذا، أضافها إلى يده الأخرى فغسل بهما وجهه، ثم أخذ غرفة من ماء فغسل بها يده اليمنى، ثم أخذ غرفة من ماء فغسل بها يده اليسرى، ثم مسح برأسه، ثم أخذ غرفة من ماء فرش على رجله اليمنى حتى غسلها، ثم أخذ غرفة أخرى فغسل بها رجله يعني اليسرى، ثم قال هكذا رأيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يتوضأ. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. یا رب صلی وسلم دائما ابدا علی حبیبک خیر الخلق کلہم. My respected elders, young brothers, friends, brothers and sisters, I've just read a hadith of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam before you, narrated by our Prophet's cousin brother Ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is one of the four Ubadala, meaning he is one of the four Abdullahs. Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas, the one who narrated the hadith which I've just read before you. Hazrat Abdullah bin Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma. Hazrat Abdullah bin Zubair and Hazrat Abdullah bin Amr bin As radiyallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in. These four Sahaba Ikram, their names were Abdullah. Although Abdullah bin Masud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he is also Abdullah, but he is not counted in these four Abdullahs, meaning these four Abdullahs lived for long. And Abdullah bin Masud had passed away before them. So whenever any issue occurred and people wanted to know any masala, any Islamic ruling regarding any issue, and if these four Sahaba Ikram, these four Abdullahs, if they agreed on the issue and the ruling, and their four opinion was one, then people would say, this is the opinion of four Abdullahs. This is the opinion of four Abdullahs. So from there, they were known as the four Ubadalas, meaning four Abdullahs. Abdullah bin Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he was our Prophet's cousin brother. And he was born 3 years before the Hijrah migration. And his mother, al-Fadl, was our Prophet's wife, Hazrat Maimuna's sister. And Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu was given the title of Bahar and the Hibr, meaning he was a man with abundance of knowledge. Because our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on one occasion made a dua for him that, "Oh Allah, you teach, you grant Abdullah the knowledge of Quran, the interpretation of Quran." And he was known as the Ra'isul Mufassirin, the chief of all the commentators. He passed away in Taif, in Saudi Arabia. Taif, the city, he passed away there. It is mentioned the day he passed away, the funeral was prepared, and the people were there. And all of a sudden, people saw and they witnessed a strange bird, like of which was never seen before. This bird appeared, and people had never seen such bird before. And this bird flew and it came and entered the body of Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And then no one saw it coming out. And when the body was lowered in the grave, and people heard an invisible voice saying, reading, "Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'inna, irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatun mardiyah, fadkhuli fi ibadi wadkhuli jannati." That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'inna, O contented soul, irji ila rabbiki, you come back to your Lord." Meaning, come back to your Lord means you were there, you went somewhere, now come back here again. You return to your Lord. They say the souls of believers are placed in the seventh heaven, below the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when a person dies, a believer dies, his soul and his book of deeds is taken to the Illiyin, which is in the shade of the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the shade of the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all the souls are resting there. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He commands, the soul is brought from there and it is placed in the child's body. And when one dies, his soul is taken there, and his soul and his book of deeds, Nama Amal, is placed there. But the body is buried in the grave, but there is a connection between the body and the soul. There is a connection between the body and the soul. The soul is there. And this is for this very day. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, the believer, he becomes alive in the grave. He has the connection with the ruh. And even he hears, the believer who is buried in the grave, he hears the footsteps of people who are walking around him. And when one goes to visit the grave of any of his loved ones, they come to know who has come to visit us. They come to know who has come to visit us. So, Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when his body was lowered in the graves, people heard, but they could not see anyone reading this. Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'inna, O contented soul, you come back to your Lord. Well pleased and well pleasing, meaning you were pleased with the decrees of Allah, and Allah Almighty is also pleased with you. Make a dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, includes us amongst those, who are addressed at the time of death with these wordings, Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'inna. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when this verse was revealed, he said to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what a great honor is for someone
to be addressed with these wordings. So Hazrat Rasulullah said to him, don't worry, oh Abu Bakr, you are one of them. You will also be addressed by the angels by these words. Ya ayyatuha nafsul mutma'inna, or contented soul. And there's another incident mentioned. In the city of Rome, in a Roman city, there were 4 believers. They were imprisoned. And the king of that time, he was infidel. And these 4 believers, they were presented to the king. And the king told these 4 believers that you have to adopt my religion. And you have to give up Islam. If not, then you will be beheaded. The 3 of them, they feared for their lives. They feared for their lives, they changed their religion. They converted to Christianity or to the religion of the king. But one of them, he stood firm on his ground and he said, no, I will rather die, but I will not give up my Islam, my religion. And he did not. And eventually, when he did not give up his religion, and then his head was chopped off, and the head was thrown in a nearby river. When it was thrown, it went right to the depth of the river, and then again it came up and emerged on the river and looked around, and the head began mentioning those 3 names. The 3 friends who converted to the Christianity. This head emerged from the river and mentioned those 3 names. Or you, or so and so, or so and so, and recited this verse. Ya ayyatuha nafsul mutma'inna. O contented soul, you are pleased with Allah and Allah is pleased with you. It is mentioned when this was heard by the people, the majority of the people at that time, they converted to Islam. And these 3 Muslims who gave up Islam, they also converted to Islam again. And then this head went back into the river. So Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was our Prophet's cousin brother, and he was known as the Ra'isul Mufassirin. And he narrates this hadith, which I just read before you, in which he, on one occasion, he said to his pupils, shall I not demonstrate to you the wudu, the ablution of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how Rasulullah made wudu? So then it is mentioned, annahu tawadda'a. He made the wudu in a following way, and then he explains. It says, فَغَسَلَ وَجْهَهُ أَخَذَ غَرْفَةً مِّن مَّاءٍ. A vessel was brought, a container with water was brought for Hazrat Abdullah, so that he can show people how to make, how Rasulullah made wudu. It is mentioned that he took a handful of water from the container, and with it, he rinsed his mouth. He rinsed the mouth, and also he put water into his nostrils. He cleaned his nose. So first he took a water, and then he rinsed his mouth, and he cleaned his nose. ثُمَّ أَخَذَ غَرْفَةً مِّن مَّاءٍ. Then again he took a handful of water. فَجَعَلَ بِهَا هَكَذَا أَضَافَهَا إِلَى يَدِهِ الْأُخْرَى. He explained that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once made a wudu. He took a water from the container with one hand, and then he joined the other hand with his right hand. And with both hands, he sallallahu alaihi wasallam washed his face. This is how Abdullah bin Abbas made a wudu. He said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam took a water from the container with one hand, and the other hand he joined it with the right hand, and then both hands, because to wash the face with both hands is easy. The face requires both hands, so one can rub the face properly so that the water can reach to each and every part of the face. So this is how Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he made a wudu. And then فَغَسَلَ بِهِمَا وَجْهَهُ. So with both hands he washed the face. ثم أخذ غرفة من ماء فغسل بها يده اليمنى. Then again he took handful of water, and with it he washed his right arm up to the elbows. And then ثم أخذ غرفة من ماء فغسل بها يده اليسرى. Then again he took the water and he washed his left arm. After having washed his left arm, ثم مسح برأسه, then he did masa of his head. Now, he did a masa, meaning rubbing the head with wet hand. Now, what is the masala? Do we have to get fresh water for the masa, or just the moist hands are enough? Imam Malik, Imam Shafi, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, these three great imams, are saying no. One has to wet his hands before he can do the masa. He has to first wet hands and then do the masa. Imam Abu Hanifa says no, he doesn't have to. He's wet his hand again because already his hands are moist. Already the water is in the hands. So it is enough, he can do the masa. The masa will be done. But it is mustahab, preferable to get fresh water and do the masa. So Hazrat Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, ثم مسح برأسه, he made masa of his head. ثم أخذ غرفة من ماء فرش على رجله اليمنى حتى غسلها. Then he took some more water and he poured the water on his right foot. In order to wash his foot. ثم أخذ غرفة أخرى, then he again took the water فغسل بها رجله يعني اليسرى. Then he poured water on his left foot and he washed the foot. And then at the end he said, هكذا رأيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يتوضأ. This is how I saw Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam making wudu. Basically, he taught his pupils the wudu of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what we learn from here is, when we are making wudu, or when we are offering the prayer, or whatever we are doing, any ibadah we are doing, we should do it according to the sunnah of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And remember this, and keep it in your mind. If anyone desires to reach to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the method is only one, and that is to follow the sunnah and the way of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. قُلْ إِن كُنتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ. Allah is saying, if anyone claims that he wants to be, Allah loves him, he loves Allah, no. He can only be true in his claim if he is following the sunnah of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Anyone who follows the sunnah of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the promise of Allah is two promises. Number one, Allah will make him his beloved. Allah will love him. And number two, Allah Almighty will forgive his sins. So in order to become beloved of Allah, the method is that we follow the sunnah of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam whenever we are doing any ibadat, whether we are making wudu, or we are taking a bath, having a bath, or we are offering the prayer, or we are lying on a bed, whatever we are doing, we are sitting in the vehicle, we should always keep in our mind how Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam he slept, how he made wudu, how he offered prayer. Inshallah, through following the sunnah of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we will draw ourselves near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we will become the beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I ask Allah Almighty to accept this majlis and make me out of forgiveness. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. وصلى الله على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا رب.